Hello techies, I'm Divya here. On behalf of CyberBrainer, don't you think the world of tech is evolving faster than ever? Now is the perfect time to dive in and build the skills that will take you places. With CyberBrainer, we are putting you in the driver's seat of your own future. We at CyberBrainer don't just teach your interest. We believe that knowledge is power, but it's applied knowledge that truly sets you apart. Whether you're diving into data science, mastering artificial intelligence, or exploring the world of cybersecurity, our courses are designed to give you the skills that matter. So let's jump into the session and make the future yours today. Thank you.
Typically, the template that I had actually built for create position, I've just quickly dragged and just put a drag and everything for all the supervisory organization. First one is the supervisory org. I will go to my support and then explain. It makes it easier. Alright. First and foremost, this particular template. Everything, if you see all of these, most of these values that you see over here type will be seen as reference IDs. This is one topic that I think I had missed explaining to you guys also. There is something called as reference IDs for every object. For every be it a supervisory organization, location, cost center, condition, rules, calculated fields, everything in Workday has something called as object reference ID or, in short, reference ID. I'll just quickly touch base on that. And then I'll proceed on to that, the rest of the topics. First, up for every object type, we have something called as reference IDs. How do I get to that particular reference IDs for my organization? It is directly available over here in the top. In the top it says supervisory underscore organization 65253. It is just a random number that is actually generated by Workday. It's a sequence number which is generated by default. However, if I want to edit it, I can definitely edit it. No hard and fast with that. And this, like I said, this particular reference ID is available for every single object, including worker position, location, company, cost center, calculated fields, condition rules. Every type of object in Workday has something called as or reference IDs. And it is unique. That is why, just recalling back to what I was just telling you earlier some time back, I can have multiple organizations by the same name. By the same name. By the same name. Locations by the same name. Rules by the same name. The only difference that should be there is your reference ID. Only your reference ID should be distinct. It can never ever be the same. And how do you actually view and edit your reference IDs for every object? Go to the relevant actions. Go to related actions. Come down all the way. You will see here something called as integration IDs. And again, integration IDs are nothing but the same IDs. What you will be passing it on to an external vendor when you are sending the data across to a third-party interface. Because every integration or your reference ID is going to be unique. It doesn't serve purpose for me to actually send across the name of the supervisory organization or your location or your calculated field or your rule. That is why we use something which is unique. And by unique, we can have only one ID, which is going to be your reference IDs. Your reference IDs are always unique. And the way I view it is to any object. Not only this, it is available even to the type of my organization. Even to the type of my organization for supervisory organization. I can go to this particular relevant actions over here and I can go to integration IDs. I can view the IDs over here. For every object, this is an organization type. For organization type, I have an organization type ID, which is called a subordinate, which is nothing but the one for supervisory organization. For every type of object, we have something called as a reference ID. The way I view it is I go to any object. I go to the menu integration IDs. And then I go to view IDs. VDs. It says the value here as reference ID and the type of this particular ID is organization. Reference ID. Similarly, for a calculated field, you will see the type as calculated field. For a condition rule, you will see this type as condition rule. Here for this particular organization type, you see the organization type ID. And similarly for every object, you will see something called as reference ID type and the corresponding ID. And in any external integration or inbound integration, be it an outbound integration or an inbound integration, we always go by only the reference IDs because reference IDs are always unique. Whereas your object names need not be unique. Hope it makes sense to you. And where we are going to be, at the place where you're going to be using this is mostly in your outbound interfaces or your EIBs, outbound EIBs or inbound EIBs. We are going to be using it over here for any object references. For any object references, we will only be referencing the object via the reference ID and not by the name of that particular object because reference IDs are always unique. They can never be two objects with the same reference ID. Got it? Clear on this, guys? And if you want to edit it the same way, you just have to go to the menu called as Integration ID and say Edit Reference ID. Here it says Supervisory Organization -625053. If I want to edit it, I can give it something else as well. I will usually give it as the name of the organization. I will say Test RMP1. I can give it the way I want to have it as well. Alright. I will just go and edit it over here. The reference ID is edited. Clear on this? Any questions? If you see here, the organization ID over here is also automatically edited. Only in organizations, you will get it over here for the rest of them. You need to go to the integration, ID or reference, ID menu. And one more thing I just want to teach you, coming back to reference ID is, if you want to view the reference IDs directly, there is a task which is called as View Reference IDs. Alright. And here I can give any business object that I want. For example, I'm giving calculated fields. For calculated fields, I will not get it over here. Let me pick reference IDs for condition rules because we have certain other menus for specific ones. Let's go to maintain reference IDs rather than going to view reference IDs. Because view reference IDs is going to be a little different. I would rather pick maintain reference IDs instead of view reference IDs. Use for all practical purposes, use view reference IDs. That's better. Alright. Here let me go to call fields. Have they restricted it in by ways? Yes, they've restricted it. Let's better use this because I'm sorry. No, because I think there are some restrictions which have been placed over there. Let's use integration IDs task. That's better. For integration IDs, I just put it like calculated fields. Whichever calculated field that you want to use, just use this particular option over here. Or let's say lookup related values, lookup calculations. I'm just picking lookup values or lookup related value expressions. Alright. Nothing available. Alright? Alright. Let me pick a business process definition. All these are derived. Just trying to get something which is going to be more relevant for you. Oh, calculated fields. Let me take locations. That's much cleaner and easier. Alright. Let's pick the location that we have over here. The locations that you created because I wanted to show you something else. But there's some restrictions. For every location that we have separate IDs over here, which is called as the reference ID, the one that I was just talking about. For every location that we have created, it will have an appropriate location reference ID, which you can use in predominantly all your calculations or your external, or that is outbound or inbound EIBs. That is specifically what I've used over here as well for the supervisory organization. Coming back to my create position table, first for the supervisory organization, I've just filled it out based on the organization ID. The next important field is going to be your posting title and job description. And then rest of them are not mandatory. I'm just quickly skimming across to the next level fields. The other fields are not necessarily required, which means if you want to have them, you can possibly have them. Otherwise, it is not required. All these, the skill set, skill metrics and everything. If you want to have it, you can have it. And the next most important date is going to be the date on which you want to have the availability date, skill date, as on whatever date. Availability date. As you all know what is going to be the position's availability date from when I want to have it. And if I want to have the earliest hire date, I can have it populated. Otherwise, it's going to automatically get it from availability date. Next, my job profile, which is always important. And again, I picked a sample job profiles reference ID. The same way, I'll just show it to you here as well. Go to integration IDs. I just pick job profile. Alright, I have all my IDs over here. Let me pick the value that I have for 5100. If I filter it based on the ID, this is the job profile. And I pick the instance of consultant. And it has the appropriate reference ID of 455100. That's a reference ID that is for the consultant job profile. I've used the same thing over here as well. And the location again for location. I picked the San Francisco's reference ID, which is again San Francisco _ site. Alright. And rest of the fields are not mandatory. Just a few fields which are mandatory over here. I picked only those which are mandatory. And rest of them are non-mandatory fields over here. Alright. Similar to how we create it in a real world. Supervisory organization positions. And when I load it across, I'm going to be having all my positions created over here. manager and gone all the way till 13. I've created 13 different positions over here right now using the EIB template. Clear this far? Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.